Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Oakfield Farm, where today we're in field 9, which is no longer claiming to be grass because it's been ploughed. That's a weird little bug with the map for some reason. It decides that it's grass until you plough it, or work it at all. And today we're going to be cultivating it. We got our vulture out, we got our cultivator out. So without further ado, let's get our GPS out. Because I am notoriously lazy and I want to get this done in a pretty way. That, for some reason, didn't work. Okay, so that's going to be a wonky line. Also, for some reason, my microphone is, like, peaking constantly. Stop. If I lower the weight, will this do anything of use? Or am I stuck? I think I might be stuck. I'm not. Trust me to almost get stuck on the very first pass with the cultivator. In theory I shouldn't turn this tightly, ever. But, I mean, the game allows it, MR allows it. I lowered the weight, not the cultivator. Let's just roll back a bit. There we go, we're on to our second pass. Now, you might be wondering, what on earth are you planning on planting here, Dave? Because this is quite a small field. And the answer is going to annoy probably quite a few of you. Because I'm planning on planting... You notice I'm saying planting? Potatoes. The reason for that is I need potatoes for the pigs. And to put it simply, it makes more sense to plant potatoes than it does sugar beets, because I always do end up doing sugar beets, I rarely do potatoes. And in terms of cost versus benefit, potatoes are basically going to be free after the first seeding. For those of you that don't know this, how do you not know this? You can fill the potato seeder with actual harvested potatoes. So, realistically, for infinite potatoes, your cost is going to be the seeder, or the planter, and however many potatoes it takes to seed a field in the first, or to plant a field in the first place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant this field, I'm going to get it fertilized, get it harvested. I will need to get, probably rent a potato harvester. And you'll notice my money is going down quite quickly, which is why I'm probably going to rent a potato harvester. And it's going to be the Grimmie. Unless I can find something that looks really, really cool and is MR. Because MR, the yields are kind of impacted a bit. And it kind of makes for more fun. What I haven't done yet is I haven't fixed the crop density of potatoes. I haven't fixed any other, or tinkered any other crop densities. So wheat, barley, canola, and I think corn are still insane, which I kind of like. I like having like insanely dense crops like grass there and over there. It just kind of... Like if I come over here and just kind of raise up off the ground a bit, you can see that that's, I would argue, fairly realistic representation in terms of density of freshly cut grass. I know that in real life it's a bit more dense than that even, but for farm sim, that's about as close as you're going to get. And I'm not going to reveal what numbers I used because I don't want everybody going and copying that and complaining to Oxygendavid that I edited the map and it doesn't work correctly now. Well, what did you do? I made the grass insanely dense. Well, yeah, that's because you de-optimized the map. I did it because I know I can. If, you know, I know what my PC can do, I know how FarmSim handles on this thing, I know I can de-optimize certain areas, not the entire map, but certain areas, and get away with it. without too many problems. I'll still probably run into FPS issues if and when I get like a few fields of insanely dense crops next to each other. But I'm just doing it to make the map look that tiniest bit more realistic to me. And that tiniest bit better, in my opinion. Now you might disagree. That's your prerogative, and that's why I've edited my version of the map, and I'm not telling you how to do it to yours. Also, I mean, it's good practice for me, seeing as I am technically making a map that I've not touched in like 2 weeks. 3 weeks now. It's good practice for me to just practice changing crop densities and what the effects of changing crop densities are. Obviously, one is less optimization. Another, though, is that it does sometimes cause funky weirdness with how the crops look. You might have noticed that with the potatoes in yesterday's video, where it was just way too dense and it looked wrong. So that's going to be an ongoing experiment that'll be, I think, mostly off camera, where I just tinker the potatoes by a certain amount every time, and then see when it looks good, and run with run with what looks good. But this feels cultivating pretty nicely. One thing I have to say, and I do have to say this, I love the plow texture. I've got forced plowing on just because the plow texture on this map is so good. And I am tempted to get the Cultiplow from Big Bud, which I guess would technically be cheating with plowing and cultivating at the same time, but it would be more efficient. Sorry for the jump cut. I coughed, and I'm doing my best to try and edit out the coughs where I can. Like, if I cough mid-word, obviously that's not going to happen, but if I cough in between words, I'll intentionally leave a gap, cough, leave another gap, and then I'll be able to jump cut. Just so you guys don't have to listen to me coughing. I know you do during the streams, because everybody must share my pain, but at least during the videos I can edit them out. Now, what I want to do before... do I want to do before I seed or afterwards? Before I plant or afterwards? Before I plant or after. I think I'm going to do after I plant, actually, is fertilize the potatoes. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get the sprayer with creative money, with cheap money, because I actually had it previously. I sold it with creative money on. So I'm just going to buy it back with creative money on again, so that I can get, basically get back to where I was before. I probably should have reset it instead of selling it, but oh well, that's a decision I took. And I'm also going to get a couple of extra plows, which again are going to be with creative money, because they were sold off at the same time as the sprayer was. And the plan with those is very simple. The extra plows are going to be course play only plows, so that I can have potentially anything up to 3 fields being plowed at once, and course play can do it for me, and I don't need to worry too much about course play being weird anymore, because it is actually after being improved to the point where it'll avoid islands in the fields now, which is lovely. You can see the pig farm off over there, the silos, which inexplicably have a really high LOD set on them. Oh, they've disappeared. A really high clip distance, I should say. And, you know, all the criticisms people have of the map, and I can completely understand it, is that the clip distances are set so low that you know, you can see clearly over the map there, and that entire farm is invisible. Well, to those people I say, that's what optimization is. Yeah, you can still see where the farm is. You can still see the fields. It wouldn't make sense for the clip distances to be as high as they would need to be. I'm kind of surprised at how steep these hills can get, honestly. If there's anything I'm amazed by, I'm amazed that MR is actually handling these fields. I don't want to say easily, but with relative workingness. I'm kind of surprised it's able to work the fields, because it does have a habit of being a bit of a turd when it comes to trying to work fields that are a bit steep. Like this field here is basically unmarkable with MR, that grass field, and I can accept that. You know, it's not a problem with the map, it's a problem with the mod. And ooh, funky clip distances and LODs. Everything on this map, by the way, does have LODs, which is load on distance files, and low clip distances for maximum optimization. And Bullet Bill has been telling me, and actually saying in streams, that pretty much every Frontier map from now on will be built to this standard. Which, knowing what's coming from Frontier in the future, is going to be very interesting and exciting. I'll put it that way. I know a bit more than is public knowledge. And I'm not gonna ruin any of the surprises they have planned. Because they're good surprises. But back to the field, we're coming up near dawn. Might actually be able to start planting today if we're lucky. So I felt. By the way, I meant to ask in yesterday's video. Normally, episode 1 of a map is like a map tour or grass work or field work. I have very rarely seen, if ever, an episode 1 like I did, where I just ignore every field on the map, pretty much, and cart some animals about. What did you guys think of that? Because I'm very curious. Because that I'm kind of experimenting with stuff in a way, and I know today's video is kind of standard, but I'll be experimenting periodically with different styles of videos, with like doing stuff that I haven't seen, or trying to do stuff that I haven't seen before, or like playing with stuff in a weird way. That little black flash that you saw on screen briefly, if you did see it, that's a game bug. That's a bug that came in a while back, and was fixed, and Giants managed to reintroduce it with one of the latest patches, which is very interesting. By the oh yes, mod releases, because I didn't stream yesterday. Apologies for that, by the way. I woke up at 5 o'clock and needed to pretty much record a few videos at once. Because, fun fact, I probably won't be streaming at my usual time tomorrow. It might be delayed, it might be cancelled, it might even be after Landy's stream. Because my sister's on night shift tonight and tomorrow night, so she'll be asleep during the day, and that's part of the reason why I'm kind of bulk recording now. I'm kind of paranoid. Today's stream might also be a bit delayed. I'm gonna wait for her to be awake before I I start streaming it. This is going to be a thing every so often, is like she'll be on night shift for a couple of days and I'll just have weird timed streams or no streams at all. But if I can't stream today or tomorrow, well, I'll just have to make it up to you guys on Friday, won't I? So, I'll say now, if there's no stream on either of these 2 days, I will be starting at 4 PM GMT on Friday and going until 7, so I'll extend the stream to 3 hours, because I know this is all like assuming I actually wake up on time. I know you guys enjoy the stream, I know I enjoy the stream, and I know I've been terrible with streaming lately, so I'm going to extend streams on weeks where my sister is on night shift, just to kind of catch up on time and whatnot. As well as at the weekend streams, I'll extend by at least an hour as well, because I'm going to go to bed early tonight. Because if I can't record and I can't stream tomorrow, then I might as well edit and render, and while that's going on, I might as well do some GE. So I'll be kind of multitasking the next couple of days, getting everything done. I might do some interesting, weird videos that are very time intensive, but don't actually require me to talk. So you might see some weird content coming up in the next few days. I don't know, it depends on what I decide to do. Because I might get bored and decide to record a, a time lapse of 4 hours of work or something. The next cold brew video, by the way, because that is a series that will continue. It's not going to be a regular thing. I'm going to try and get that up next week. I need to do some off-camera work on that, so I will be, if you're on Discord, you'll see me playing Farm Sim a reasonable amount, because I actually want to get to a certain point before I'll be happy getting back onto Cold Brew. I can turn off GPS now. Don't need it. And this single headland is gonna potentially do for the field. I'm kind of surprised that have I actually done this in such a way that I only need to do a single headland? Because usually I need to do 2 or 3 because I've wonked up somewhere. But this is looking almost perfectly cultivated. And if I miss a tiny bit, well, it's not a big deal. I'm shocked and appalled by my brilliance. As you saw, we do have the potato planter sat over in the next field, ready to go. It's not full yet, so I'll fill it up and get it going, but looks like we will be able to do at least a bit of that today. Which may or may not be a good thing. Does mean we'll be one day closer to actually having to harvest potatoes. Oh, I did bonk a bit up over here, didn't I? This is going to be more than 6 meters wide, or whatever width this thing is. Yeah, oh. So near and yet so far, just because I'm an idiot. And, oh, this entire side is going to be wonked, isn't it? Well, that's... yeah, I'm going to have to come back over this bit with the cultivator again. But, do you know what? Considering I got 90% of the field done in one pass for a headland, that's kind of fine. I do need to actually come back up anyway to swipe the bit that wonked up at the very beginning. But I've impressed myself, is what I've done there, because like, you guys know I'm usually a moron and do everything wrong, and somebody's probably gonna still say I'm doing everything wrong today. Because that's the way that YouTube is the comment section absolutely hates anybody who puts time and effort into things. But I'm gonna say this is a successful cultivation trip. because I mean, a pass and a quarter, that's good enough for anybody. It's definitely good enough for me. Let's fold the cultivator up again. I'll put this down into a shed so that it can LOD its way out of existence. There's the potato seeder. It's actually quite close to the field entrance, because the field entrance I've been using is off over here. It doesn't technically exist yet. Now it does. Just pull back on the throttle a bit. Get this thing into a shed. And I think that one should be vaguely, maybe, perhaps big enough. And 110% skill. There we go. Now we just need to pick up the planter and, well, get it filled up. Get ooh, a lag spike and get planting. You can see why I changed the grass density now. It does look like it's lovely lush grass across the field here. I think MR doesn't like trying to go back up this hill when I didn't stop properly. That was the weight, which I do still need. And oh, this thing can fertilize? Well, that's just perfect. I was gonna use the sprayer to fertilize, but I've got single pass fertilization on, and if this thing can fertilize as well as seed, well, then I'm just going to fertilize and seed in a single pass, aren't I? Fertilizer trigger is going to be right here. And then the seed trigger is right beside it. I want to say it's right beside it. So if I just nudge up a bit. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that's the seed trigger? Yes, I am. So that must be the fuel trigger. Which the seed trigger then is where? It's not around the back. It's... yeah, let's go through the house here real quick. By the way, that's where the hose was. For those of you who actually know what I'm talking about. It's hardly going to be in here. Is it going to be... back around there, okay. Oh, I can... yeah, this is going to be perfectly fine to get through. No, not this way, not this way, not this way, not this way. Seed trigger is actually off around this way, right beside the fuel trigger, which that might cause some problems, but will be fine. Especially if I'm smart and reverse into the seed trigger. Like it is here. Granted, it does look ridiculous with the how many potatoes this is hold? 1,500 liters. This is going to run out of potentially fertilizer long before it runs out of potatoes, I feel. 3,000 liters. Oh dear. 4,000 liters. This thing holds 8,400 liters of potatoes. Apparently. just gonna sit here while it fills. That was the autosave mod kicking in. We're at 8,000 liters almost. There's 8,000. There's 8,200 exactly. Or not exactly, 8,220. There's a silage clamp. Can I get around? There's no hosepipe ban. There's no hosepipe ban. Look, there's a hosepipe. There's a hosepipe. There's a hosepipe. Hosepipe. People who watch Landy will actually know what that meant. People who don't. There used to be a hosepipe up by the house, which is why I pointed out where it was. And when Oakfield failed testing for the second time, it was because the nozzle of that hosepipe, I'm not making this up, the nozzle of the hosepipe was about 3 inches off the ground. Now, I get the Giants are probably a bit more strict on maps and what gets through Giants, what gets through their testing and what doesn't after the Valley of the Old Farm, because we all know that was a... Can't say the actual word I want to say here, but that was a mess. And, you know, they're trying to make up for it by being strict now. And that was a bit too strict, because that was, in all honesty, a tiny, insignificant detail that caused an entire map to fail testing. That's going a bit too far with the perfectionism, I think. So we're almost up at the field. This thing is not going to do well going uphill, is it? I mean, just 13 kilometers an hour and I've got nothing running on the back of this thing. Yet I'm going to have to plant a field that is potentially more steep. With this thing turned on. So let's unfold it. Let's get it into our GPS rut here. There we kind of go. Turn it on. And can I get the keypad 7? I meant this 7, didn't it? Target with 6 meters. Go on to 3. How wide is the seeder or the sprayer that I want? 28 meters. Okay. So if I set this to 24 meters, that'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be good. Because I do have the Proceed mod now. And one thing that I should mention is potatoes are not affected by multi-terrain angle, which is on the PC version of this map. They never have been. That's been a thing for many, many years, since FS13 at bare minimum, but potatoes just haven't been affected. So it's not that the map is wrong, it's the upshift track counter. Oh, can I force the tram line, we'll say, in this next pass? Because I'd actually kind of like a tram line this next pass, so... yeah, I want a tram line this pass. Please? There we go. Kind of, sort of working. It's just, this is as fast as it goes now, is 0. We are moving forwards slowly through. What if I were to lower the weight and get the center of gravity even lower? Not a whole lot, but you can see we are laying down a tram line. A very thin one. So proceed does. It's maybe not the most ideal place to be putting it, but oh well, it's going there. This is top speed. This is as fast as we move now. In reality, this tractor would have sunk into the ground by now because the wheels are spinning so much. And oh, we're actually moving at a speed. The tractor's found some traction. So I'm using Proceed because I actually want tram lines on the field. And what it does is it basically shuts off small segments of seeders and planters and whatnot, so that you do get your pre-planned tram lines where you want them. And they are, I think, realistic. Yeah, they are tram lines you could drive down with care wheels, I guess. Just so that you don't need to worry about weirdness. So we'll just stop there, and that beeping is going to be insanely annoying. I think I can turn off the sound, can't I? So why is that not... I'm not entirely sure why Proceed's not working correctly and not updating the track numbers. Oh, it's on GPS mode now. No! Now I've got, like, a pass with half a tram line. So you have to have it on GPS... Oh, I can't turn off the sound by doing that. Oh, I can turn off tram lines manually. Ah. Well... That's... Okay, no tram lines in this field. Because, oh, I can turn off fertilizer? That's an interesting feature. Yeah, I'm not going to do tram lines in this field as it turns out, just because it's going to wonk everything. But now I know how to get GPS working with it. This is going to make life a lot easier for me. And this is basically me learning the Proceed mod as I go along. This is the version from the mod hub. There's a kind of an updated version on their GitHub, which I'm not using because I don't want to use an experimental version while I'm learning something. And yeah, so my logic there is I prefer to use a stable version while I'm at least learning, so that I learn something that I can predict what on earth it's gonna do. Well, that is gonna be it for today, guys. I just looked at the time. We're a bit over, but I'm gonna be editing bits of this out anyway, so it's not too big a deal. I'll leave you guys by saying I've been RainbowDave. You've been watching Farming Simulator 17 on Oakfield Farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.